Not all evil comes with a weapon. Sometimes it sits beside you, smiles at you, speaks gently while draining your spirit piece by piece. Evil does not always raise its voice. It whispers, it flatters, it studies your weaknesses and then waits for the perfect moment to strike, not with fists but with influence, manipulation and silence. There are people who pretend to care, but they secretly compete with you, envy your peace and celebrate your downfall in the shadows. They may be family, a friend, a lover, a co-worker. They know how to hide behind charm, behind favors, behind shared memories. But if you learn to observe, not just listen, if you learn to feel the vibration behind their words, you will see the pattern. Because evil always reveals itself, not through what it says, but through what it consistently does. In this message, I will walk you through 10 unmistakable signs that someone near you is not who they pretend to be. And the last sign is the one most people never talk about, because it forces you to make a choice, protect your peace or protect the illusion of the relationship. Stay to the end, because the final truth may not only expose them, it may also set you free. Have you ever felt it? That subtle shift in energy, that quiet dissonance when someone speaks. A feeling deep down, an intuition whispering that the surface doesn't match the depths. We often navigate life hoping for the best in others, extending trust. It's how connections are formed. Yet sometimes this very openness leaves us vulnerable. Sometimes, hidden beneath smiles and pleasantries, lurks something else, patterns of behavior that erode peace, drain vitality, and weave confusion. Dismissing these faint signals, silencing that inner alarm, can lead to entanglement in dynamics that harm us. What if the warnings, the evident signs are already there, subtly playing out in daily life? What if recognizing them is the key to safeguarding your well-being? Don't be the one caught unaware. Stay with me, because we are about to uncover 10 distinct patterns that signal something potentially destructive operating nearby. Pay close attention. The picture becomes clearer with each sign, and the final one, that one holds a crucial key to your protection. Let's observe. Sign 1. The slipping mask of charm. Consider the individual whose charm feels almost overwhelming, especially upon first meeting or when they aim to impress. This isn't the gentle warmth of genuine kindness. It's often a brighter, more calculated performance. They might be exceptionally witty, complementary to a fault, mirroring your interests with uncanny speed, making you feel uniquely understood and special. This initial phase, often called love bombing in romance, but applicable broadly, is designed to disarm you, lower your guard, and pull you into their sphere swiftly. They want you to like them, immediately and intensely. But the true sign isn't the charm itself, but its inconsistency. Masks require effort. Notice moments when it slips, when they believe no important eyes are watching, or when interacting with those they deem unimportant, like service staff, subordinates, or strangers. Does the effusive warmth vanish, replaced instantly by a chilling coldness, impatience, or contempt? One moment they are agreeable, the next, a flash of disdain or sharp rudeness towards someone else feels jarringly out of place. This energy shift is palpable. The smile tightens, the eyes harden. A dismissive gesture, a condescending tone appears briefly before being smoothed over. This isn't just a bad mood, it's a glimpse behind the performance. It reveals the charm is a tool, strategically deployed for gain, not an innate quality. They can switch it on and off because it's not who they truly are. It's a tactic. Maintaining this facade is draining. Under stress, fatigue, or when the performance isn't deemed necessary, especially with those offering no perceived benefit, the underlying personality, perhaps arrogance, entitlement, or disdain, surfaces. How they treat those they see as lower is often a far more accurate reflection of their character than how they treat you when trying to win you over. Pay attention to these flickers, these glitches. They are invitations to look deeper, hinting that the reality beneath the polished surface is less appealing, potentially problematic. Don't dismiss these slips. Sign 2, a disturbing lack of empathy. Empathy is the invisible thread connecting us, allowing compassion, support, and kind interaction. Its profound absence isn't just a quirk, it's a void making interactions feel cold, confusing, and unsafe. Observe the individual who seems strikingly unable or unwilling to connect with others' feelings. This isn't social awkwardness, it's a deeper deficit, apparent indifference, or even annoyance towards others' suffering, pain, or vulnerability. Hearing about misfortune, job loss, illness, grief might elicit blankness, impatience, or hollow platitudes sounding like learned scripts. "Oh, that's too bad," said with zero emotional weight. Watch their reactions to broader tragedies or social injustices. Are they unmoved, or do they quickly pivot to how it inconveniences them? Do they make cruel jokes in the context of hardship? Often they fail to grasp why someone feels a certain way, dismissing valid emotions as overreactions, weakness, or drama. "Why are you so upset?" "It's not a big deal," they might say, showing a complete inability to step into another's shoes. This deficit can extend to animals or vulnerable groups. A callousness towards suffering signals this pattern. Crucially, some become skilled at faking empathy when it serves them. They know the right words, expressions, gestures. But look for consistency. Does it feel performative, exaggerated yet hollow? Does it vanish instantly when no longer beneficial? They might make a grand public show of support, but offer zero private follow-through. A chilling aspect is a subtle flicker of satisfaction from others' mistakes or misfortunes, schadenfreude, a fleeting smirk, a gleam in the eye, an eagerness to share bad news under the guise of concern. Engaging with someone lacking deep empathy is like trying to warm yourself by a painted fire. There's no real heat. Sharing vulnerabilities might be met with a blank stare or invalidation, leaving you feeling isolated and doubting your own feelings. Where empathy is absent, the capacity for manipulation and cruelty thrives unchecked. This coldness is a fundamental warning. Sign 3: chronic lying and deception. We all tell occasional white lies. This is different. This is chronic, habitual lying woven into their interactions. It's not just avoiding trouble, it's often about control, manipulation, and constructing a false narrative serving their interests. Observe the frequency and nature of the lies. Are they constant, even about trivial things where truth seems harmless? This indicates lying as a default mode. They might lie about their background, achievements, whereabouts, intentions, anything. The sheer volume can be baffling. These lies craft a specific, usually flattering, self-image or manipulate your perception. They exaggerate successes, minimize failures, invent scenarios for sympathy or advantage. They are often compelling storytellers, but their narratives crumble under scrutiny, revealing inconsistencies over time. Tracking their truths becomes exhausting. A particularly insidious form is gaslighting, tactics making you doubt your memory, perception, and sanity. They'll deny saying things you clearly recall. They'll insist events happen differently, often with great conviction. They'll call you too sensitive, imagining things, crazy, or making things up when you address inconsistencies. Imagine confronting them about a hurtful comment. "I never said that. You misunderstood. You always twist my words." Or pointing out a broken promise. "We never agreed to that. You must be remembering wrong. Maybe you're stressed." Done repeatedly, this relentlessly denies your reality, eroding your confidence in your judgment, making you more dependent on their version. You start questioning yourself. Did I misunderstand? Maybe I am too sensitive. This pattern allows them to evade responsibility, control the narrative and create a fog of confusion and self-doubt, making it hard to trust your instincts or challenge them. They build a false reality where they are always right and you are always flawed. Dealing with a chronic liar is like building on quicksand. No trust, every statement suspect. The constant second-guessing is mentally draining and isolating. Chronic lying isn't just untruth, it's about eroding your connection to reality for control. Recognizing this pattern is vital to hold onto yourself. Sign 4: subtle and sometimes not so subtle cruelty. Kindness reflects a healthy soul. Cruelty, its opposite, can be overt, but often with those hiding darker traits, it's subtle, insidious, and deniable. This isn't occasional thoughtlessness, it's a consistent pattern designed to undermine, belittle, and inflict emotional pain, often disguised as humor or care. Watch their use of sarcasm. In their hands, it becomes a weapon, delivering personal attacks as jokes. They target insecurities, appearance, intelligence, past mistakes, always smiling, ready with, "Can't you take a joke?" if you react. This wounds you while positioning you as overly sensitive. Backhanded compliments are another tool. "That dress looks surprisingly good on you," or "You actually did well on that for once." The compliment is laced with insult, keeping you off balance, diminishing confidence. Observe their treatment of others, especially perceived rivals or inferiors. Do they engage in malicious gossip with relish, subtly exclude people, making them feel invisible? Use triangulation, pitting people against each other by misrepresenting conversations, creating drama they can observe or mediate for power. Look for a subtle enjoyment accompanying these acts, a fleeting smirk when a joke hits hard, a glint of satisfaction at someone's embarrassment, an energy boost from conflict they instigated. This isn't just indifference, it's a low-level pleasure from others' discomfort. Cruelty also manifests passively, the silent treatment, deliberately forgetting commitments, making promises they won't keep, constant lateness, offering help that subtly sabotages. These actions create frustration and anxiety, exerting control without direct confrontation. Why? Often insecurity, envy, or a need for control. Putting others down elevates them. Causing unease makes them feel powerful. It manages their internal deficits by projecting negativity. Being subjected to this is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Each incident seems small, dismissible, but the cumulative effect is deeply damaging, eroding self-esteem, causing anxiety, walking on eggshells, leaving you confused and devalued. Recognize this pattern: targeted jokes, backhanded compliments, enjoying others' pain. It's not just their way, it's often a deliberate tactic by those lacking kindness, seeking power through diminishing others. Sign 5. A consistent history of troubled relationships and blame. One difficult relationship ending is normal. A consistent pattern of tumultuous, failed relationships, romantic, platonic, familial, professional, coupled with a complete lack of personal responsibility, is a major red flag. Listen carefully to how they describe past connections. Do they portray themselves as the perpetual victim? Is every ex crazy or abusive? Every former friend a betrayer? Every past employer unfair? While difficult people exist, if everyone in their past is painted negatively and they accept zero accountability, it suggests a profound inability to maintain healthy connections and engage in self-reflection. Healthy individuals learn from past difficulties. They can usually acknowledge their part in conflicts, understand different perspectives, show nuance, or even residual respect. The individual we're discussing often presents a stark black and white narrative. They were innocent, the other person entirely at fault. No complexity, shared responsibility, or personal growth. Their story is constant victimization by a flawed world. Look for signs of burned bridges. Few, if any, long-term, stable friendships. Strained or cut-off family ties. Rapid cycling through friends or partners, often involving intense idealization followed by dramatic devaluation and discard. This pattern predicts future behavior. If they consistently failed relationships and refuse to acknowledge their role, they'll likely repeat it with you. How they describe their past previews how they might describe you. Their inability to take responsibility means no capacity for genuine change or repair. When conflict arises, expect the same blame shifting. Furthermore, this victim narrative manipulates you now. It elicits sympathy, lowers your guard. You might feel protective, wanting to be the one who understands them, making you more vulnerable. Investigate subtly or just observe their narrative's consistency. Does it change? Do cracks appear? Does it align with their current behavior? A history littered with broken relationships where they shoulder no blame is a powerful indicator of deficits in relational skills, empathy, and accountability essential for healthy connection, whose absence signals danger. Don't ignore the ghosts of relationships past. They whisper warnings. Sign 6. Pervasive manipulation and control tactics. Manipulation isn't always overt. Often it's a subtle undercurrent designed to influence your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to suit the manipulator's agenda. Those with harmful patterns are often masters of these covert tactics, used to gain and maintain power. Recognizing them is crucial for resistance. One common tactic is guilt tripping, making you feel responsible for their emotions or misfortunes. I wouldn't be so stressed if you hadn't. Or, look how upset you've made me, or, after all I've done for you. This plays on your obligation and empathy, compelling compliance. Playing the victim. Sign 5 is key here. Constant emphasis on hardships or past traumas elicits sympathy and deflects accountability. It's hard to criticize someone perpetually positioned as suffering. This can justify poor behavior. I only acted that way because I've been hurt. The silent treatment is potent passive-aggressive control. They withdraw affection and communication when displeased, creating anxiety. You're left guessing, pursuing them, often apologizing just to end the discomfort. It's emotional blackmail through absence. Veiled threats or intimidation can be subtle, hints of negative consequences if you don't comply. It would be a shame if X happened, implying jeopardy to your job, reputation, or other relationships. Sometimes it's just an intimidating stare or tone designed to make you back down. Financial control creates dependence, scrutinizing spending, using money for reward punishment, making it hard to assert independence or leave. Isolation is a key strategy. They subtly criticize your friends and family. They don't really care. Bad influence, demand more of your time, manufacture conflicts, making it uncomfortable to maintain outside relationships. The goal: cut you off from support, making you more reliant and easier to influence. Remember love bombing sign 1. Intense initial affection creates a powerful positive association and indebtedness, making it harder to see or react to later negative behaviors. You get hooked on the initial high, tolerating worsening treatment, hoping to recapture it. These tactics often work together, alternating charm and guilt, victimhood and threats. The goal is always undermining your autonomy, eroding self-trust, keeping you compliant and entangled. Naming the tactic, that's guilt-tripping, silent treatment again, helps you detach and resist. Recognizing manipulation is the first step to reclaiming power. Sign 7. Extreme reactions to criticism and inability to take responsibility. How someone handles criticism or accountability is incredibly revealing. While nobody enjoys it, a mature person can usually receive feedback, consider it, and respond without excessive defensiveness or aggression. They can apologize sincerely if wrong. In stark contrast, individuals with harmful patterns often exhibit extreme, disproportionate reactions to even mild criticism or perceived slights. Observe what happens when you offer constructive feedback, point out a mistake, or simply disagree. Instead of consideration, expect intense reactions. They might fly into sudden rage, turning tables aggressively, attacking your character, bringing up past grievances, making you regret speaking up. The anger feels vastly out of proportion. Alternatively, they become extremely defensive, launching into elaborate justifications, excuses, rationalizations, twisting facts, misrepresenting situations, or denying reality to avoid any fault. Listening can feel confusing. Blame shifting is reflexive. It's never their fault. They expertly redirect responsibility onto you. I only did that because you. Someone else, circumstances, anything but themselves. They master finding external scapegoats. Sometimes the reaction is a complete shutdown or playing the victim again. They feign deep hurt, cry, or become sullen, making you feel guilty for upsetting them. This shuts down conversation and positions you as the aggressor for raising an issue. You might also encounter the non-apology apology. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry if you were offended. Mistakes were made. Passive voice. These placate without actual accountability or remorse. What underlies this? Often a deeply fragile ego hidden beneath arrogance. Any criticism feels like an existential attack on their precarious self-image. They cannot tolerate being flawed, so they must defend their facade at all costs, distorting reality or lashing out. Living with this makes conflict resolution impossible. No repair without acknowledgement of their part. You learn to tiptoe, censor yourself, manage their emotions. This constant vigilance is exhausting and prevents authentic connection. Their inability to tolerate criticism or accept responsibility isn't just stubbornness, it's a fundamental barrier to growth and healthy interaction, signaling a potentially toxic, unyielding personality. Sign 8. Viewing others as objects or pawns. Healthy connection requires recognizing others' inherent worth and autonomy. We see people as individuals with their own feelings, needs, thoughts separate from us. Toxic individuals often lack this fundamental respect. They tend to view others not as fellow humans, but as objects, tools, or pawns for their own gain, amusement, or convenience. Observe if their relationships seem primarily transactional. Are people valued based on what they provide: status, resources, validation, entertainment, connections, rather than who they are? This instrumental view is often subtle but pervasive. They cultivate friendships purely for strategic advantage, showering attention on the useful while ignoring the useless. Listen to how they talk about others when absent. Is it focused on utility? He's good to know because. or she's useful because. Lacking genuine warmth or appreciation for intrinsic qualities, the focus is function. This objectification is starkest when someone is no longer perceived as useful. Warmth vanishes abruptly, replaced by cold indifference, dismissal, or ghosting. People once intensely pursued are dropped without explanation or remorse, like discarding a broken tool. No lingering connection or obligation based on shared history or humanity. This ties back to lack of empathy sign 2. If you can't feel with someone or recognize their inner world, treating them as an object is easier. Their feelings, needs, boundaries become irrelevant, except as they affect the manipulator's goals. They might disregard your time, borrow possessions without returning them, share private information, expect constant availability, all from lack of respect for you as a separate being. They might use triangulation broadly, using people as pawns in social games, spreading gossip to pit friends against each other, playing intermediary to control information, creating drama, then playing rescuer, manipulating people like chess pieces. Being treated as an object is profoundly dehumanizing. You feel used, unseen, devalued. The connection wasn't based on care, but on your temporary usefulness. This realization is painful and erodes trust. Recognizing this pattern, transactional relationships, utility-based language, easy discarding is critical. It reveals a worldview lacking respect for human dignity, where people are means to an end. This objectification clearly signals an exploitative and harmful nature. Sign 9. Subtle enjoyment of chaos and others' misfortune. Schadenfreude plus. Beyond indifference or casual cruelty. Signs 2 and 4. This involves a discernible, though often hidden, sense of satisfaction, pleasure, or excitement derived from chaos, drama, and others' misfortunes. It goes beyond simple schadenfreude into something more active and pervasive. Observe their reactions when things go wrong for others, a colleague reprimanded, a neighbor's setback, a rival's struggle. While most feel sympathy or indifference, this individual might show signs of concealed glee. Look for the slight, quickly suppressed smile, the overly eager way they share bad news, inappropriate jokes at the sufferer's expense, seeming energized when discussing drama. Sometimes they aren't just observers, they instigate chaos, subtly stirring conflict, spreading rumors, sabotaging projects, creating complications, then watching the fallout with detached interest or masked amusement. They seem to thrive on tension and discord. Stability might bore them, chaos feels stimulating. Why? Could be deep envy, others failing makes them feel better. Could be power, witnessing or causing chaos gives a sense of control. Could be boredom, drama provides external stimulation. Could reflect a lack of conscience, inability to value peace. Consider their reaction when you face difficulties. Does concern feel genuine or edged? Are they slightly too interested in negative details? Do offers of help complicate things? Do you sense they're enjoying your struggle? Trust that feeling. Intuition often picks up subtle cues. This trait is disturbing because it counters prosocial instincts. Someone finding pleasure in suffering and chaos is disconnected from collective well-being. Their internal landscape may be so barren or tumultuous that external turmoil feels resonant. Being around someone feeding on negativity is draining. They might constantly bring up bad news, focus on problems, steer conversations to conflict. You feel more anxious, pessimistic after being with them.